Hi, my name's Matt, and this is my story. As far back as I can remember, my family always loved Jesus. When I grew up in the home that I grew up in, church was always a part of our experience. Both of my parents loved the Lord. It was probably somewhere between 5 and 6 years old that I made a decision to accept Jesus. And later on in my life, when I was 9, I was baptized along with my brother. It wasn't, though, until my sophomore year in high school that I made a really crucial decision in my faith. You see, I was called out of school one day, and I was told that morning, unexpectedly, my mom had passed away from a heart attack. And as you can imagine, that experience rocked my world. It changed so many things about the way I did life from that moment on. My mom and I were incredibly close, and I learned through that experience that my mom was a spiritual leader of our family. And the faith that I had up until that point really was just a borrowed faith. I trusted that God loved me. I went to church because my parents said we had to. I trusted that God loved me because my parents told me that was true. You see, the faith that I had up until that moment was kind of a reliance on my parents' faith and not really a faith of my own. So as I was going through this grieving and mourning process, I had to decide whether or not I was going to lean into God for hope and for peace, or whether or not I was going to be angry and pull away from Him. And I had to decide in that moment whether or not my faith was my own, or whether or not I was going to continue to rely on the faith of my parents, and one of whom who had just passed. And I decided in that moment to lean in to my relationship with God. And in that moment, my faith became real. I believe that's kind of that turning point in my life where I went from kind of before Christ into a real personal relationship with Him. Since then, it's just been amazing to see how the hope that I've experienced and the way that God has used those different life experiences and friends and family and mentors in my life. It's just been an incredible story of hope and peace to see how God has taken the ups and downs. I also lost my dad years later to skin cancer and other elements of loss. To see how God has walked me through all of those things, and He's never left me wanting. I've always known, even despite sin and struggle that I still have in my life, that God loves me just the way I am, but He loves me too much to leave me that way. So I'm so excited to share my story with you.
We all love a good story, right? A story makes us lean in, want more. Well, we want to invite you to lean in with us this Easter Sunday as we tell the greatest story ever lived. It's a story of betrayal and action and drama and love and all of these things at the same time. And it happens to be a very true story. We have 4 service times that you can choose from at 8:30, 10, 11:30, and 1 o'clock. All the services are identical, and we have children's ministry available for your kids at all 4 services. This is an incredible place to come and belong before you believe like us. High energy music, casual environment, very practical teaching. We would love to have you as our guest. You belong at ACC.